विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्मविद्याचार्याय नचिकेतसे च 1 to 23. Is everyone on the same page? Yeah. And if you don't have this, what's its name? The text you can download here. Yeah, Katha PDF, you can download that. Where is that? Yeah. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyah na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yamai vesha vrinute tena labhyah tasyaisha atma vivrinute tanum swam. Yeah. So after seeing a few verses of paradoxical verses, where Atma was described first as it's neither the killer nor is it the killed, it's neither subject to death or is it subject to birth. Then after that we had that which is itself disembodied, but moves through all the bodies, that which is stationary but is all pervasive. And so like this we had a couple of verses, and that which is smaller than the smallest, larger than the largest, and so on. So if this Atma is such a slippery customer, larger than the largest, size wise, no size, correct? And then, is it an object of hearing? No. Is it an object of size? No. Is it stationary? Yes. Does it move? Yes. So what is it? Is it stationary or does it move? It's neither stationary nor does it move. It just is. It's all pervasive. So then the mind has just been, it's like that all the notions have been shaken up, tossed like a salad. And then so the mumukshu, who is a mumukshu? Seeker. Yeah, the seeker of freedom, the jignasu, the seeker of knowledge, is floundering. Is wondering if this is the state of the Atma, that it is bigger than the biggest, and so I'm looking for something huge, then suddenly it says it's smaller than the smallest. Then the one that doesn't have a body, oh, that's easy, like space, but then it is in every body. Now what is this? How do I know this Atma? And so the next verse talks about not how does one get to know this Atma, but how does one not get to know this Atma. Both of them are talked about. First, what is the general mistakes that one makes in trying to grasp the Atma, like even one grasps an object, a flower, a fruit, There is something comforting about using the means of knowledge, the pramana, that are available to the person. And what are the means of knowledge available to the person? First we have the sense organs, the direct perception. Then you have various levels of inference, anumana, which is one step removed, one step inference. If the roads are wet, it must have rained. And then we have more than one step inference called arthapatti. What is the classic example for that? Arthapatti?
Smoke.
traditional example. Many times I have talked about it. What is the classic example given for more than one step inference?
He whose name I not remember and never was anyway.
Devadatta does not eat, no, bhunkte. You know, when? During the day. Devadatta does not eat, he is watched. Devadatta does not eat during the day. And then what happens? After 1 month, they put him on the weighing machine. In fact, he has gained a few ounces. So what do you conclude?
Eats at night.
He must be eating at night when nobody is watching him. So this is an example of two-step inference called arthapatti, which all the medical knowledge does that. If it works on the rat, it must definitely work on you. That is how all the medical knowledge is based on this more than one step, multi-step inference called arthapatti. Then we have a means of knowledge that is available to the pramata, the knower. And what is that? The simile. The zebra is just like a donkey but with stripes. This is very easy to, so if you know donkey, you've never seen a zebra, then you see a donkey-like creature with stripes, then you say, oh, this must be zebra. So then we have a special means of knowledge to cognize absence. Not absolute absence, because there is no absolute absence available for cognition, because the one who cognizes the absolute absence is absolutely present. So how can you say that there is absolute absence? It is not possible at all, because it's like a child saying, I'm not hiding behind the couch. That means what? You're advertising yourself. So when you say there is nothing in this world, the truth of this world is a big zero, who is it that you're calling a big zero? Yeah, yourself. And you're not a zero. You consider yourself a hero. So here, from hero to zero in 1 minute, everything is gone. So therefore, there is no such thing called absolute absence. But there can be a relative absence. The absence of the flower in my hand. Is there a flower in my hand? No. Why? Because it's in the other hand. Don't say that. Because you see the hand and you see the flower here. Because the flower vritti has been born here. The mental modification at the word flower has given the meaning flower, has gone and imprinted on the mind and created a flower there. And that flower is not matched in the palm of the hand. The cognition of relative absence called anupalabdhi. And the other one is called upama, the simile. So these are the only 5 things which the pramata, the one who is invested with the body-mind-sense complex, considers herself or himself a knower, operates. So this is what the pramata operates. This is the means of knowledge, and these are the means of knowledge. And as long as any one of these means of knowledges that we are asked to operate, we are in what is called the comfort zone. Why? Because the ego is feeling very pleased. The I notion is at an all-time high. It says, I know how to do this. I'm the pramata, I'm the knower, and these things are useless, and I'm in charge, I'm in control. So the I notion, the ahankara, feels extremely comfortable in its place. Then what? Then suddenly you come across these verses that jostles and unseats the ahankara, smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest, and then that which is neither here nor there, but it is indeed everywhere. And then in fact you can't even say it is everywhere, because everywhere is a spatial connotation. The where, when you ask where, you are automatically assuming that space is absolute. So here, that which is the author of space, tasmad va etasmat atmanah akasha sambhutah, from this atma alone the akasha, the space, was born. So here we are not talking of something that is in space. here, there, everywhere, where. You can't ask these questions. But the ahankara gets the I notion, who is in charge of being the knower and is very comfortable in a place of intellection, because one is feeling like this is my knowledge, I'm on top of it, I got it, I feel secure. Even in the total insecurity, there is a relative security that I cling on to. And all that has been unraveled in the last two verses, leading the ahankara to just go sulk in a corner, or if it is prepared to ask the question, all right, if I cannot know this by the 5 means of knowledge, and I'm going on this a little fast because we have done this at length earlier. So if I cannot know this with the means of knowledge that are under my control, how do I know it? And that is what the next verse is going to elaborate and elucidate in detail. But first it begins in the true Upanishadic style, neti neti vachanaihi, so through the words that negate the means that are not good to know, then it talks about how to know. Very beautiful. So, na ayam atma. So you begin with a negation. Na. Na means what? Yes, correct? No. So, na means no. Not here. Na ayam atma, this atma, pravachanena labhyaha, is gained through attending lectures. What? Then why are we having this 1 month course? Do you know how early I have to wake up? I'm taking it from some other country. You should have told us this before. That the Atma is not available for lectures. Here, even though the word pravachana, we saw this in the Sanskrit class, pra plus vachana, like spiritual discourse is the general meaning of the word pravachana. Here it means through the study of the Veda. That's what it means here. Pravachana means by the study of the Veda, by memorizing the Veda, by memorizing the Upanishad. What will happen if you memorize the Upanishad? Nothing. You can impress a few friends in parties, like this foreign language, and I can just wax eloquent and quote different sections of the Upanishad, and then, and show off. And sometimes it may be good to do that. It may give you a little boost of the ahankara. But what are we trying to do here in Atma Vidya? We are not trying to boost the ahankara. We are trying to unravel this fellow and dispatch this fellow by the only means of knowledge that is there to educate this fellow. Dispatch means integrate this fellow with Ishvara. So, therefore, what are we trying to do here? We are trying to dismantle the ahankara, which has mistaken itself for a finite entity that is sitting at the helm of the body-mind-sense complex and thinking of itself as a separate and finite entity, and thereby is subject to grief. So the pramata is the knower. The pramata itself is knocked off, by which knowledge, that is what is called Brahma Vidya, Atma Vidya. It is beautiful. And so here, what not to do? So, na ayam atma pravachanena labhyaha. It is not by, and Adi Shankara says in the Bhashya, Veda swikaranena. So by taking upon one Veda as one's own, and by becoming a Hindu, for example, like I have accepted this Veda and this is what I have memorized the mantras and I am doing this and I am doing that, by that the Atma is not going to be available. Why? Because the Veda still is an object. Correct? Yeah. The Veda is an object. So embracing the Veda is not going to give you Atma, even though the words deliver in a particular way the knowledge. And how the words operate to dismantle the pramata, the ignorant being, is given very beautifully in the Mundakopanishad. In the Mundakopanishad, it is said that there are two kinds of knowledges. One is called the apara. Apara means not absolute. and one is called para, the most exalted, and beyond which knowledge there is nothing. The absolute knowledge and the relative knowledge. The relative knowledge is of various branches and disciplines. Like you master a subject, biology, zoology, medicine, whatever you want. And then you can specialize in it more and more and more. And then the absolute knowledge is of what? Yourself. Because the self is absolute. So the relative knowledge is of the objects, of the world of objects, bhutagramam, of the world of the whole elements and elementals, and the absolute knowledge is of what? The subject, myself. So now, the student Shaunaka in the Mundakopanishad asks, and this is a very pertinent question. Shaunaka asks, so what is the, what is the relative knowledge? What do you mean by relative knowledge? What is included in that? And the teacher, Angiras, surprises the student by saying, Rigvedaha, the whole of the Rigveda is what? Relative knowledge, knowledge of objects. Yajurvedaha, Samavedaha, Atharvavedaha, Shiksha, pronunciation. Kalpaha, the science of rituals. Vyakaranam, grammar. Chandas, prosody, Jyotisham, astronomy, astrology, all this is under relative knowledge. Oh, but then I thought the Upanishad gives the absolute knowledge. What is absolute knowledge if the Upanishad and the Veda, which includes the Upanishad, is relegated to the level of the relative? What is absolute knowledge? And the teacher says, Yaya vritya, yaya buddhi vritya, aksharam adhigamyate. Sa para vidya, sa para vidya. So this ultimate knowledge is what? Is through that mental modification, through that thought form through which the self that is indeclinable is understood. So what is the ultimate knowledge? That which happens in the mind as one listens, really. That is the ultimate knowledge. It's not in a book. It cannot be just sort of assimilated in a particular way like one, memorizes the tables. One does not memorize the tables, two twos are 4, 2 threes are 6, 2 fours are 8, just like you memorize, you cannot memorize. Atma is Brahman, Atma is Brahman, Atma is Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. What are you going to get from memorizing? Nothing. But that cognition through the removal of the ignorance is what is being talked about. The cognition that happens when the words of the Upanishad deployed through a Shrotriya, the teacher who has herself studied and who knows, and a Brahmanishtha, the one who knows the matter. So the one who has inherited from his or her own teacher the pedagogical tools for operating upon the pramata. Why does the pramata, the knower, need an operation? Because the knower is stuck on that throne and has to be physically de-seated. So this is the operation, okay? It is like a surgical procedure because the Guru Stotram says this very much so. It says that Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I bow to that teacher. I bow to the teacher, the giver of this knowledge, who performs surgery. What kind of surgery? Eye surgery. Cataract surgery. What kind of cataract? The cataract of ignorance. Yeah. cataract of ignorance that is clouding the vision of one's own mahima. Why am I using the word mahima? Because it came in the last word, verse. Mahantam vibhum atmanam, that mahantam, that greatness, that mahima is, of that atma, the glory of the atma, the one who operates on that ignorance that is clouding the glory of the atma through the deployment of words along with the pedagogy inherited from the parampara, the sampradaya. The parampara means the lineage. And so, the fact that one comes to the class and everything is very clear in the class. I'm not going to speak what happens afterwards or before. But in the class there feels like something is happening, And that itself is the mental modification that takes place when the words are heard. When the correctly deployed words by the one who can handle the pramana are heard, what happens in the heart, in the mind, is that knowledge alone. In fact, the teacher doesn't place the knowledge in the head. The teacher simply removes the mistaken notions, and the knowledge being self-shining, it is not away from you, it is in fact you only, it just comes to the fore. Previously it was obfuscated by various wrong notions. The notions are removed, and what shines is the self-effulgent self. So that is what is called para-vidya. So here too, grasping the Upanishad. Sometimes people keep buying Upanishad books. They keep buying, keep reading, keep buying, keep reading, keep buying, keep reading. Nothing happens, And they get caught in a quagmire of various different, what are they called? Translations. Oh, here Atma means self. There in the other book Atma is called something else. There Brahman means bliss. Here it is called joy. What is the difference? What is the same thing? Then you become an academic. Then you become a Pandita. Pandita means a scholar. Not necessarily a person of knowledge, but a scholar. There is a difference. And what does the scholar, Panditasya lakshanam kim? So if you ask what is the definition of a Pandit, dosha darshanam. Dosha darshanam means the ability to find faults in various arguments. Correct? So this is the scholarly, this is what one does. When you get a PhD, you criticize everyone else, and then they are not happy with you, they criticize you because they don't want to be left behind, and this constitutes the university library. Each one criticizing the other. That's what books are made up of. Because first you have to justify why, and then you keep critiquing everyone else, and this dosha darshanam panditasya lakshanam. So this is the lakshana of a pandita. The characteristic here is to be able to pick out the fallacies. But then, unfortunately, this so-called Pandit is faced with that which is infallible. So how are you going to, take out fallacies in that body of knowledge which says you are the whole? There is nothing other than you. No, I disagree. Okay, disagree. You will only look bad. If you disagree with me and say, if I say you are the whole, and if you say I disagree, then what is your conclusion? I am not the whole. Okay, theek hai, no problem, So this is how, this is not a knowledge that can be disagreed with. This is not a knowledge that is meant for critique. In fact, it cannot be critiqued because it's not saying anything objectionable. It's not saying anything impossible. It is not saying anything that is flawed. And this is not a knowledge that can be improved upon. You are infinite. No. Okay, I want to improve upon that. Alright, how will you improve upon that? I am infinite plus 1. What is infinite plus 1? Still infinite. So this cannot be negated. This knowledge cannot be negated without negating yourself. This knowledge cannot be improved upon. This knowledge cannot be contradicted. This knowledge cannot be added on. And what are you going to do? It cannot be critiqued either. So the pravachana means here not listening to discourses, but just assimilating the Veda in a different way, in a scholarly way, is not going to hand you the Atma on a platter, because in the scholarly way you can compare various renditions, you can compare the translations, you can compare so many things. You can find fault, sometimes even in places where you cannot find fault, people do find fault. It's okay. But it's not going to give you the knowledge of the Atma. So, okay, then what? That is the first line. Na medhaya. Medha means memory. Memory. Medha here means memory. And Adi Shankara says, Grantha Artha Dharana Shaktya. By the ability to understand and memorize, the meanings of words. So you memorize the Veda and then you memorize the meanings of the words. What is the translation of Purusha Suktam? Oh, this is what? Sahasra Shirsha Purusha. The cosmic being has more than 1,000 heads, thousands of heads. And then Sahasraksha, 1,000 eyes. Sahasrapat, 1,000 feet. Sabhumihi Vishvato Vritva. Having just, created this whole thing, transcends the whole creation. While inhering the creation, transcends it also. This is the Purusha that is both immanent and transcendental. So like this I can sit and give a lecture, correct? I can do an instant translation and I can memorize all this. Yat bhutam, yat cha bhavyam, that which was there before, that which is going to be there later, and by inference that which is going to be there now. Now what is there to understand? There is so much to understand, but this is just a shallow level translation, a shallow level knowing of the meaning as an object, grasping the meaning as an object while keeping yourself away from it. The pramata is sequestered, shielded from any change. Yeah. The knower doesn't want to be transformed by the knowledge. Doesn't want to be or doesn't allow themselves to be because of some fear we do not know. But the knower wants to not be displaced and tries their level best to keep themselves in that place of being the boss. And operating the memory and operating the ability to translate, to understand, to grasp the meaning, so that I still look upon the knowledge of the subject as the knowledge of an object. So I try to objectify the subject, in which case the knowledge cannot and does not take place. So two things have been negated. What are they?
Scholarly work.
The study of the Veda as an object, the scholarly study of the Veda, and then grasping the meaning through intellection, memory, and all these kinds of ways to do it. Because the whole point is to unseat the one who thinks I know. Because as long as the knower is predominant, is predominantly seated, then what happens? The subject cannot be known, because the knower only knows how to know the objects. And none of these 5 means of knowledge we discussed a little while ago is useful in knowing the subject. The means of knowledge can only know the object. That is why the words of the Shruti, the Upanishad words themselves become the 6th means of knowledge in the form of words, Shabda Pramana, that can pierce through the knower, de-seat the knower, and and harsh as it sounds, you may ask, why should the knower be de-seated? because we are trying for a vritti. A vritti means a mental modification where the knower subsides and you understand yourself without the knower being present. And that's the only way to understand yourself as non-dual. Because as long as the knower is seated in the place of knowing, in the place of knowing other things than itself, then there is always a duality, there being a distinction between the knower and the known. Did you follow? You want me to repeat it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, here, this is a flower, right? So, I know this flower. Why? Because it is other than me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, as long as it's an object that can be objectified, meaning through the senses, it has a fragrance, it is soft to touch, it has a color, it has a form, and if I go like this, I can even hear the petals rustling, so I can experience and some people will pluck off the petals and put it on the salad. So, in Eugene they do that. You eat the fresh flowers along with the salad, and so you can experience this flower through all the five senses in so many ways. You can experience this flower, and it is an object, and who is experiencing the flower? The knower, the subject. Correct? Now we have a little bit of a contradiction in the sense that when the knower wants to know the subject, then what means of knowledge to use? I can't see myself there. I can only see the body if I stand in front of the mirror. I can't hear myself. The hearer is the Atma, the self. The seer is the Atma. The hearer is the Atma. The one who smells, you can't say smeller, that has a different meaning. So the one who operates the smell, the sense of smell is the Atma. And this is the Atma. The Atma is the one who operates all that. So how can I know myself without any of these means of knowledge? The inferer is the self. And the one who operates the what is that? Anupalabdhi, the means of knowledge for the cognition of absence is myself. Absence of not the subject, the object it cognizes. So what is this? So the pramata is helpless when it comes to knowing oneself, because it cannot be seated as the knower in the place and the status of the knower. It cannot enjoy the status of the knower and still say, I know myself. It cannot. So in a way, it has to be de-seated. And by de-seated, I mean that since the self is self-effulgent, you're not away from the self at all. And when you see that it's the self-effulgent self which operates all these means of knowledge, is that which is whole, which is free of everything, which is free of knower-known knowledge. Because you see, as long as the knower is predominant, there will be a distinction, a duality. Knower, known. Seer, seen. Hearer, heard. This division is there. And the same division cannot be there when the knowledge of the self is concerned, because the self is non-dual. Understood?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, the knower has to be knocked off from the pedestal, I am the knower of the self. Yeah. Because as long as the knower is intact, the status of the knower is intact, then the self-knowledge becomes elusive, because I'm still haven't gotten over the habit of grasping the self as something other than me. And in order to drop that orientation, I have to drop the status of the knower. And the only thing that helps me do that is the Upanishad, the words of the Upanishad, which are comforting and which tell me that you are not what you think you are. You are that which is the whole, and I being self-evident to myself, then the what's it saying? The ignorance drops, and all there is that. And I can say I know myself. There is nothing wrong in saying that, but not as an object, as the subject. So therefore, medha doesn't help. What is medha? Intellection. Memory and intellection. And then the third thing that doesn't help is called bahuna shrutena. Bahuna shrutena. Bahuna shrutena means kevalena. Na bahuna shrutena kevalena means the person who is a quintessential seeker. Who is a quintessential seeker? Any lecture that comes to town, they run and go sit, seeking. But the seeking, and there is nothing wrong with running and going and sitting at every lecture that comes to town, but at some point you have to make up your mind what is it that you are seeking. Because there are many, under the rubric of spiritual discourses, there are many different kinds. There are people who say Atma is an experience and you have to experience the Atma. What are you doing right now? Are you not experiencing the Atma?
Yes.
Is there a doubt? Shall I ask the previous question? Are you here?
No, don't ask the question.
So if you are here, that means when you say yes, I am here, that means you are experiencing that yourself. When is it, tell me, that you do not experience yourself?
She's sleeping.
In sleep you don't experience yourself? Then how come when you wake up you say, I wish I had slept more? And how come when you wake up you say, I slept so well I did not remember anything? Sukhamaham aswapsam, to put it in Sanskrit. Nakinchid avedisham, I did not know anything, I slept so nicely. Who is the one who says that if you are not there in sleep? How do you say that? So that means you are there in sleep. You are the witness of sleep, albeit later on, but you are the witness of the sleep. Because the mind is gone to a causal state, you don't recognize the sleep while you are sleeping. You recognize it afterwards. That's why nobody is able to tell at what time did you fall asleep. You are not able to tell. This is the reason. Correct?
Mhm.
So in dream you are very much there. You don't say this, I dreamt somebody else's dream. Whose dream did you dream? Your own dream. So when is it that you are not there? All the three states of being are covered. When are you not there?
Never.
Yeah. So you are experiencing yourself all the time. You are experiencing yourself as the waker right now, hopefully. You are experiencing yourself as the dreamer. You are experiencing yourself as the sleeper, as the thinker, as the doer, as the bhokta, as the experiencer of the fruits of action. As the seer, hearer, now hearer, now thinker, now mother, now father, now brother, now sister. So many roles. In and through the roles there is one thing that is invariable, that never is not an object of experience, that never goes away. What is that? You. That you, divested of all roles, divested of all doings, all actions, divested of all various states. No states. That is you. And that you happens to be the cause of the universe. So when people say Atma should be experienced, I get confused. Because when are you not experiencing the Atma? If you're not experiencing the Atma, then you have to say you have to experience the Atma, but you're already experiencing all the time. Yeah, I know I'm experiencing, but why am I still miserable? This is the next question. Why am I sad then? Who is experiencing the sadness? Huh? Okay, Atma is experiencing the sadness. But when you say I am sad, are you sadness itself, or are you the one who notices the sadness, the observer of the sadness, the witness of the sadness, correct? So the witness of the sadness is free of sadness. Anything that you observe, you are free of. Oh, but the waking state? Yes, you are free of the waking state. Oh no, that means I'm the sleeper? No, you are free of the sleeping state also. Oh, then I'm the dreamer all the time. Yes, my parents also said I keep daydreaming. No, neither the dreamer, nor the sleeper, nor the waker. The waker is a status that is imbued upon the Atma. It is superimposed upon the Atma like even the dreamer and the sleeper. The Atma is neither waker, nor sleeper, nor dreamer. But dreamer non-separate from Atma. Dreamer is Atma, Atma is not dreamer. Sleeper is Atma, Atma is not sleeper. Waker is Atma, Atma is not a waker. Atma is free of all states. It is itself, it lends its presence, its consciousness lends its presence to all the activities, all the states without undergoing any change. And how are you going to know this? By memorizing a few verses? How? Or by attending all kinds of lectures. Somebody says Atma has to be experienced, and somebody says you are a spark. You are a spark, and each Atma is a spark. It's in fact, some people will say it is not just one spark, a series of sparks. Okay? You just think about this a little bit. What is a spark? That which comes and goes before you are able to say the word spark. Correct? So then the question arises, if the Atma is a series of sparks, how did the last spark communicate to this spark who it is? How did it do that? And in between the two sparks, what was there? Zero. And suddenly Atma came and Atma went and Atma came. But still there are people who think that. This is, spark vadins are there. Vadins means the people who have that philosophy. And then some people will say Atma has to be cleaned. A lot of people think this. Atma ko saaf karna hai. You have to clean the Atma. I am curious to know what soap you will use. Yeah. What will you use, To clean this Atma. First of all, how are you going to catch hold of it to clean it? This is what it is. So there is a lot of, spiritual discourses out there. In the name of spiritual discourses, they take you off course. Yeah. They take you off course from what is really meant to be known and what is the most hita and what is the easiest thing to know. If one goes off course, trying to do some kind of spiritual acrobatics. Some people say, you touch the toes, you will get the Atma. Atma is in the toes? And some people will say, no, Atma is not in the toes, it is in the nose. You breathe and you will get the Atma. Air is free and breathing is an involuntary mechanism. And they charge you $750 for 1 weekend to find out how to breathe. So all these things we have to be able to discern and understand. I'm not criticizing the people. I'm criticizing what is contrary to what the Shruti says. And so if I have a buddhi, an orientation towards the Shruti, where I give it a chance that it is a pramana, it is a means of knowledge that has something useful, something comforting, something beneficial to tell me, then I have to give it a full, chance. I have to try it because a means of knowledge fulfills itself only after you try it. It's like the person who underwent some kind of a surgery for the eyes. And the surgery was successful. And the doctor came and removed the bandages. Please open your eyes and see. No, said the person. Why? Because I'm afraid that I won't be able to see. So I won't open the eyes. No, please open the eyes. There is no reason why you can't see. Open the eyes. No. That means what? The pramana is fulfilled only when you allow it to operate. So here we have to allow the Shruti inside the heart through the words of the teacher, through the words of the teaching. You have to allow it inside the heart, despite all the notions. The words of the teacher play dodgeball with the pramata, because the pramata keeps trying to block the words and somehow it still goes in, hopefully. So you have to be able to be in a place of receptivity, give it a chance. And chance means what? Give it a true chance. Not just one day I'll listen properly and tomorrow I'll go back to the old ways of being suspicious and doubtful. And so Bahuna Shrutena is the person who is not willing or not able or too frightened to commit. And this fearful person likes to be permanently open. Like the one who says, I'm permanently agnostic. What is agnostic?
One who believes there's no proof of...
Yeah, there is no proof. So you cannot have proof. You don't need proof of yourself. I've just told you that. That which makes all proof go poof is the self. There is no need. That which is self-evident, what proof do you need? Oh, I have to pinch myself to see if I exist. Ouch. Oh, that was me? Yes, that was you. So, okay, I have pinched myself and it hurt. I exist. But still, some people are die-hard, they will not be convinced. There is like it becomes a psychological problem. Like there is a psychological condition where this is a real, thing. There is an illness where the person thinks that the person is dead. Person thinks I'm dead. And no amount of convincing, there is a name for it. You know the name of it? Yeah, there is a name for it. It's a particular kind of a illness where you think you're dead. And other people try to convince the person, look, you're not dead, you're alive. Come on, you don't know anything. Dead people don't talk, you're talking. Well, that doesn't prove anything. And then the person, to convince this person, took a pin and pricked and drew some blood. See, you're bleeding. The blood is flowing through your veins, you're alive. What did this person say? That doesn't prove anything. It only proves that dead persons can bleed. That's all. And so, if this is the state of the heart, then these are not the methods by which you know the Atma. The heart has to be open. And the Upanishad here is trying to do some kind of open heart surgery, spiritually speaking, that you have come this far. Help yourself a little more by just allowing the words to sink in. Give yourself the gift of commitment, not to the teacher, not to the teachings, to knowing yourself. The teacher and the teachings come along, it's a package deal. Give yourself the commitment, dare to commit. What do you have to lose except the shackles of ignorance and samsara? And you have to gain the glorious I, the Atma. There is nothing there. So, the Bahuna Shrutena means the doubting person. The doubting person who's always fraught with suspicion and doubt. And the same doubter also teeters between doubt, lack of commitment and hopelessness. I don't know how that is possible, but that is the combo here. So doubts 1 week and then suddenly gets hopeless. The day they are ready to commit, they get hopeless. Oh, but I'll never get this. It's so difficult. And I don't know Sanskrit. And I can't listen to all this. And I get distracted so easily. So therefore I won't get it. And then they bring themselves out of it back to doubt. And so this teeter-totter will not work. And so therefore, na bahuna shrutena, not by repeated, listening to various, everyone coming and talking, you're not going to get this. And then what? Kena tarhi labhyate. How is it indeed gained? How do we understand this Atma? And then the next line talks about how. Yameva isha vrinute tena labhyaha. Yameva, for that person who esha vrinute, for that person who seeks the Atma, tena labhyaha, by that person alone is gained the Atma. The Atma is gained. The one who seeks it honestly and with Shraddha, with reverence, is the one who gains it. And Adi Shankara in the Bhashya says, where is that? स्वात्मानम् एष साधकः वृणुते यमेव स्वात्मानम् एष साधकः वृणुते प्रार्थ्यते तेनैव आत्मा वरित्रा स्वयम् आत्मा लभ्यः ज्ञायते एवमित्येतत् निष्कामस्य आत्मानम् एव प्रार्थयते आत्मनैव आत्मना लभ्यते इत्यर्थः. So the person has to, the teacher can be wonderful. The Shruti, of course, is wonderful. And the other classmates are also wonderful. And then what is happening? Nothing. This is why? Why? Why is it not going through? Because that choosing here, that seeking, vrinute means to choose. Vrinute chooses. Chooses here is nothing but commitment. That there is a concerted effort on my part, and the effort is not one of, what's the word for it? Yeah, weightlifting or something. There is nothing here. It's an effortless effort. And perhaps it's not an effortless effort because, the blocks are too many. But nonetheless, the commitment that I'm really going to open myself up and allow myself to be operated upon. That's the fear. But but this is not unlike going into an operation theatre. If you have to have surgery, what will happen? The person comes, and before you are wheeled into the operation room, a person comes and says, I am your neighborhood friendly anesthesiologist, and I am going to put you out for a while, don't get scared. And I am going to give you this, and I have here your height and your weight to know how much of the anesthesia to give. And these days anesthesia is nothing. You will come out, you will not even know what happened. But there are times, sometimes people are allergic to anesthesia. And so, in case you don't come out, you just sign this liability form so that your survivors don't sue us, and the hospital and myself are not liable. Please sign on this dotted line, and then as soon as you sign, we can get through with this operation. And that is the time when you are most vulnerable, because you are already on a gurney, on a moving thing over which you have no control. Okay? And then the IV would have already been started. Yeah? And then, you're in a vulnerable position. You don't know, you just have to submit to this person. This is not the time to ask, show me your certificates. How many malpractice suits are against you currently? How many people have not come back under your watch? How many adults, how many men, how many women have died? How many children? This is not the time to ask. What you have to do? You have to gulp down the fear, the wave of fear that is rising in the heart. You have to gulp it down, and you have to put the entire trust of your body into the hands of this anesthesiologist. You have to have total Shraddha, and you have to have total Bhakti, and you just sign on the dotted line, and then you just go in, correct? Yeah, in fact, you don't have Shraddha and Bhakti towards the anesthesiologist. You have Shraddha and Bhakti in God and Bhagavan, in a source other than the anesthesiologist, and you say, theek hai, no matter what can happen, I have to be prepared for everything, and you just let go. The same thing here. What is happening through the teaching process is that all old orientations, habits, notions are being anesthetized, are being suspended in the course of this teaching. They are being told to lie down. All the inner children, the ones who create this ruckus, the ones that throw tantrums, the ones that distract one from the study, the ones that scream, the ones that yell, and the ones that feel like they are dying, all of them are anesthetized by the words of the Shruti, by the words of the teacher. And the one who says, I will allow these words to operate upon me so that I can see the truth of myself, so that I don't have to live in this helpless, misery-filled life of samsara, so that I can see and own up my own glory. That is the person to whom the Atma shows herself. This is what is the Atma shows itself to the one who makes the first step to show themselves completely. So they don't have any reservations in making the commitment, and they don't have anything to hide, anything to block. And for such honest and sincere and committed seekers, tasyaisha atma, for such a seeker, vivrinute, opens up its entire body. Body means atma doesn't have a body, okay? Yeah. Body here means it shows itself in its entirety without anything, being hidden. And that is the beauty of it. Tasyaisha eva atma vivrunute tanum swam. Tanu means body, but here it's not exactly the body. Without anything to hide, it shows itself back. So basically, you are showing yourself, you're opening up to knowing yourself, and the self also is not held back. And they say, the elders in the tradition, the teachers say, that there are 3 kinds of graces with which one helps oneself to the knowledge. One is called Daivanugraha, the grace of God, and we need the grace of Bhagavan to know the Atma. Why? Because the obstacles are so many, and so many times the quest itself can be hijacked. And so we need the grace of Bhagavan to know the Atma, and so that the quest and the seeking is not hijacked. So that the proper teacher I meet, and I'm able to understand this properly through the proper way that it is meant to be understood. And then the second grace, is what? Guru Anugraha. The teacher's grace. Teacher's grace means what? Grace is like an underground spring. You have to tap into it. That's all it is. So the teacher's grace means that the teacher, in every Upanishad it says that you have to please the teacher. So it's not some kind of an apple polishing. You're sitting and saying, oh teacher, you are great. You're not buttering up the teacher. That's not what is meant. Please the teacher means show the preparedness. Because it's only for the prepared mind that the teaching will even sit. And if the teacher feels that you are not prepared, the teacher will not teach. Because the teacher doesn't believe in wasting calories. So, why would you throw seeds on hot rock? Can you throw seeds on hot rock and then expect them to germinate? No. So if the mind is like a hot-headed rock, then on that the seeds of this knowledge, they will not shoot, they will not spring forth, they will not flower, they will not have fruit, they will not blossom. And the teacher sees that, and so therefore the pleasing the teacher means what? Being prepared. Having Shama, Dama, Uparati, that is enough. All the qualifications, the 6 packs that we have talked about, having all that means that the teacher is ready to teach, and when the teacher sees you, the teacher feels like teaching, because they see that there is somebody there receiving. That is the idea. So that is Guru Anugraha. These are the 2 main forms of graces that we talk about. And another grace, a most important grace, is Atma Anugraha. You give yourself the permission and you say, I deserve this knowledge. There is no one more deserving of this knowledge than me. I have worked hard. I have roamed around and sunk in samsara for too long. I have now gained this, self-love to no longer let myself be abused by just sinking constantly in samsara. I am going to help myself to this knowledge. This is Atma Anugraha, where I give myself the permission to go ahead, the blessing, my own blessing. It's not the Guru's blessings, God blessing, all that can work. But without the last factor, without myself blessing myself to go forth in a committed pursuit, this Atma cannot be known. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Yeah, this is something for everyone here online. Wait to ask the questions till the end of the class. Yeah, because if you're typing as I'm speaking, then so many things you may miss. Yeah, it's all Pujya Swamiji. That's why it's wonderful. Everything I speak is from him. Yeah, some questions are here. Daiva Kripa, Guru Kripa, Atma Kripa. If there are so many courses which don't lead us to the Atma, which one should we choose? We have to pray. That's a good question. We have to pray for the right kind of teaching, the kind of teaching that resonates with the quest inside. The quest inside is not to be two, is not duality, is to be one with everything. And so that lineage which teaches the Upanishad exactly how it should be taught, does not distort the Upanishad, the meaning and the words of the Upanishad. That is the lineage to be chosen. ठीक है? Yeah. अच्छा है. Very good. Om. आइए. So, audience का, somebody wanted audience darshan. So first you have Dakshinamurti darshan, there he is sitting, and then ठीक है, audience का भी दर्शन ले लीजिए. Namaste बोलो. You have to say namaste. Yeah, that is the way. So there we go. अच्छा. How can we present this pravachan? Yeah, go to live stream. Give me quickly the live stream code. When one embarks on Atma Jnanam, why does it create fear in your immediate ones? This question I really like. I'm so glad. I love this question. I'm so glad Harish asked this. Okay, so because it is the whole samsara, the dysfunctional. Oh, somebody has already given it. Yeah. Thank you, Vasanti. Yeah, so Premji, you take this link here that Vasanti has just typed, and and you please copy that onto your computer, and that is the link you follow, and then you look at the last Kathopanishad class, and then you can play it in your Gita group. Okay, so now coming back to this very important question, why does it create fear? Because in every relationship, with loved ones, with significant others, there are two components. One is called the functional component, which is just pure love, caring, receptivity, reciprocity. And then there is a dysfunctional component which says things like, I cannot live without this person, which is really not true. But that's a feeling, it's a dysfunctional feeling. Or it could say that Sometimes the feeling is I cannot live with this person, but still I'm going to continue living with this person. That is also dysfunctional. Or it could say things like, like I joke all the time that the guilty person marries the hurt person, correct? Guilty marries hurty. Guilty keeps apologizing and hurty is never happy. So like this, there are problems. And these problems, this is the dysfunctional part. And unfortunately, we don't see the difference until we come to Vedanta. We don't see the difference between the functional and the dysfunctional aspects of our close relationships. And then we seek inadvertently, we fall into the pattern of nourishing the dysfunctional aspects, mistaking them for love, mistaking them for need, mistaking them for connection. And so I knew this couple that had to have a fight every day. Then one day I said, why? Why do you have? Because we survive through conflict. This is a childhood problem, Because in the household, one felt close only when everyone fought, because that is the only time there was any interaction. And so then one reproduces this in all the lives. So now coming to your question, which I haven't forgotten. So coming to your question, why do the other people start to get scared? Because of the overlay of the functional and the dysfunctional, and not being able to drop the dysfunctional, one is afraid of losing. Yeah. And also if you start becoming healthy in your relationships and your life, it automatically is an invitation for the significant others and the loved ones to also embrace that health and that objectivity. And if they are not prepared to do that, they get scared. The fear is just of losing you. So what you have to do in order to survive this 1 month course is to assure them that you're not going anywhere. And that as a result of this course, you will be a better son, a better daughter, a better mother, a better father, a better brother, a better sister, a better husband, or a better wife. That's what you have to assure. And when you assure that, when you say, when I take this time for myself, and whether I'm watching the class or doing this, I want this undisturbed time so that the rest of the time I can be more present and more loving. And then you see, then they will say, if 3 days you don't attend class, they will say, please attend class, you're getting irritable. So, you're losing it, please go. They will themselves say that. So this is the way to do that. This is the trick. Good luck. Let me know how it works. And then there is one more question. Kidhar hai bhai, upar hai. Yeah. Kahan hai? Let us make this. Oh, there we go. That's much better. All right. You said if we honestly seek for the Atma, then we'll gain the Atma. So if I gain the Atma, no, gain within heavy quotes. Yeah. Gain means no. Yeah, that's what I meant. Okay? Yeah. There was one more question. If Atma is the witness, how can it experience? Yeah, it's the witness of all experiences. And it is self-evident, so it's not separate from any experience. It's the invariable presence in every experience. Okay? Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's okay. You just tell both of them that you are going to be a much better son and the best husband ever. And you wait and watch. Everything will go. Yeah. Om Namah Shivaya. We'll do one arati. If people want, they can stay.
I have a class to teach.
Om Namah Shivaya. Please carry on. Can you put that small, what?
This one too?
Yeah, sure. Let that be on. Can you get me one of those small ones, please? We'll do Dakshinamurti, Arati. So those who can stay for another 10, right there in front. Those who can put it in such a way that they can see the Lord completely. 108 names, please.
Oh yes.
Can we still have this connected?
I believe so. We have one on
No, the
side?
others, no, we don't. It's still not connected. Can you do the other one?
It's connected to it.
No,
There's
the
another
light should
plug
be
that
Oh,
goes
there.
light.
out.
Here.
There's one on the ground.
I see.
Here, give that.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. Give that back to
Here.
me.
That's
Ah,
wrong
I
spot.
see. Okay.
Wrong one.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Just one.
Yeah.
Swamiji.
Evening puja has been done?
No.
No, good.
So
Who
this will
is
be.
going to do Archana?
Is this going to be evening puja?
Yes.
Okay.
Who is going to do Archana?
Flower petals. Oh, flower petals.
Yeah. Somebody come quickly. You can sit right there and do it. Yeah.
Right here.
Right? Yeah. Right where you are. Take this also. And remember, you need 108.
This is more.
For color, for effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
In this. Altar.
ॐ मुद्रा पुस्तकवह्निनागविलसद्बाहुं प्रसन्नाननम् मुक्ताहारविभूषणं शशिकला भास्वत्किरीटोज्ज्वलम् अज्ञानापहमादिमादिमगिराम् अर्थं भवानी पतिम् न्यग्रोधान्तनिवासिनं परगुरुं ध्यायाम्यभीष्टाप्तये ॐ सद्गुरवे नमः ॐ सत्कृतये नमः ॐ साक्षात् ब्रह्मरूपाय नमः ॐ सदाशिवाय नमः ॐ सनकादिमुनिस्तुत्याय नमः ॐ सर्वधर्मप्रवर्तकाय नमः ॐ सभाज्याय नमः ॐ सर्वभूतेशाय नमः ॐ सच्चिदानन्दविग्रहाय नमः ॐ सुधांशुकलितोत्तंसाय नमः ॐ सर्वकर्मफलप्रदाय नमः ॐ दयापयोनिधये नमः ॐ दात्रे नमः ॐ दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ॐ अव्ययाय नमः ॐ अज्ञानमर्दिने नमः ॐ विज्ञानदायिने नमः ॐ विधिहरीडिताय नमः ॐ चराचरगुरवे नमः ॐ क्षेत्रे नमः ॐ चिन्मुद्राङ्कितहस्तकाय नमः ॐ वटमूलस्थिताय नमः ॐ वीक्षाबोधितागमसारकाय नमः ॐ मौनव्याख्यापराय नमः ॐ मायानाशनाय नमः ॐ मौनिमानिताय नमः ॐ सञ्चितागामि पापघ्नाय नमः ॐ संशयच्छिदे नमः ॐ सदाकृतये नमः ॐ युगाधर्महराय नमः ॐ योक्त्रे नमः ॐ यूने नमः ॐ योग्याय नमः ॐ यथार्थविदे नमः ॐ योगासनस्थिताय नमः ॐ योगिने नमः ॐ ब्रह्मतत्त्वप्रकाशकाय नमः ॐ निगमान्तमहातत्त्वस्वरूपाय नमः ॐ नियमप्रियाय नमः ॐ तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यार्थाय नमः ॐ तत्त्वमर्थप्रबोधकाय नमः ॐ मुनिवेशधराय नमः ॐ मानिने नमः ॐ मानिदाशेषसज्जनाय नमः ॐ जानुन्यस्तकराय नमः ॐ जायापुत्रवित्तैषणोज्झिताय नमः ॐ जीवात्मने नमः ॐ परमात्मने नमः ॐ सर्वात्मने नमः ॐ सर्वविदे नमः ॐ समाय नमः ॐ स्थूलाय नमः ॐ अनणवे नमः ॐ अह्रस्वाय नमः ॐ अदीर्घाय नमः ॐ सर्वान्तरात्मकाय नमः ॐ अपाणिपादाय जवनाय नमः ॐ सर्वज्ञाय नमः ॐ सर्वशक्तिमते नमः ॐ अज्जाय नमः ॐ अपहतपाप्मने नमः ॐ तेजोरूपाय नमः ॐ त्रिलोचनाय नमः ॐ परमाणवे नमः ॐ परममहते नमः ॐ परस्मै ब्रह्मणे नमः ॐ परात्पराय नमः ॐ चिद्रूपाय नमः ॐ चित्सभादृशाय नमः ॐ पञ्चकोशान्तरस्थिताय नमः ॐ अणोरणीयसे नमः ॐ महतो महीयसे नमः ॐ महदादिकृते नमः ॐ निर्लेपाय नमः ॐ निर्गुणाय नमः ॐ नीलकण्ठाय नमः ॐ नियतमानसाय नमः ॐ जन्ममृत्युजराच्छेत्रे नमः ॐ जगज्जन्मादिकारणाय नमः ॐ महावाक्यार्थभूतात्मने नमः ॐ महात्मने नमः ॐ मितवाचे नमः ॐ मनवे नमः ॐ पञ्चाक्षरी जपप्रीताय नमः ॐ पञ्चकृत्यपरायणाय नमः ॐ परमाप्ताय नमः ॐ प्रणवरूपाय नमः ॐ प्रणवार्थप्रकाशकाय नमः ॐ वेदपारायणप्रीताय नमः ॐ वेदान्तैकार्थरूपवते नमः ॐ पुराणागमसारात्मने नमः ॐ पुराणाय नमः ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः ॐ पुरुहूतादिदेवेद्याय नमः ॐ पुण्यलभ्याय नमः ॐ परन्तपाय नमः ॐ सर्वरूपाय नमः ॐ सर्वधराय नमः ॐ सर्वाधाराय नमः ॐ सदामृतये नमः ॐ दर्शनान्मुक्तिफलदाय नमः ॐ दुरितात्मसुदुर्लभाय नमः ॐ त्यक्तैषणाश्रयाय नमः ॐ त्यागिसन्न्यास्यात्मस्वरूपधृते नमः ॐ कृताक्तदीपप्रीतात्मने नमः ॐ संसारभयनाशकाय नमः ॐ सर्ववैदिकसम्पूज्याय नमः ॐ सर्वमन्त्रफलप्रदाय नमः ॐ श्रीमेधादक्षिणामूर्तिस्वामिने नमः. Incense. I will do. You can give me. And that chocolate and apple we can.
Where's that?
Yeah.
There?
There is.
Right. Also here.
Somebody can ring the bell, please. ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पदानश्रीमन्योतिरिसीदसादनम् ॐ महागणपतये नमः निधये सर्वविद्यानां निचये भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः Someone can hold this up at eye level a little bit. Disengage the mic, it will be easy. First here. Oops.
See where he
No, no, no. Yeah, there we go. There. ॐ एकदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्ति प्रचोदयात् ॐ न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चन्द्रतारकं हेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतो यमग्निः तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति ॐ हर हर नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. You can turn that off. Okay.
Thank you. There's some left over.
This is
Girls.
good.
Yeah, for the girls. Yeah. Yeah. I have 2 or 3 different kinds, are usually right outside the check stand.
Putting it back together.
Very
And
nice.
I'll bring some extra shells here for people. I have lots of shells.
That'd be great.
I got really cold.
Yeah. My
Could
feet.
make it easier.
Oh,
It's supposed to be 82 degrees.